Hi, welcome back everyone to another episode of Bullish or Bearish. I'm Angela Chu from Success Options Group, and I'm here again with my brother Tony. And we have another really interesting topic for you today, where we're going to talk about both the kind of pros and cons and let you figure out what is right for you.
Yeah, so I love this episode because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics. And I'm Tony, by the way, as Andrew mentioned. We're talking about the proof of concept of NFTs. So, in the prior video, so make sure you check out our prior video where we talked about like the bads, or like what's good and what's bad about crypto and what's good and bad about NFTs. But this really gets into like digging down into the actual examples. So like one of the biggest examples to start off with is gaming. Right. So who here hasn't played a game, right? And I mean, me and Andrew grew up and we played card games, like so Magic the Gathering. And I know this makes me a nerd, right? I know that, but like this is gaming is probably going to be the first frontier where you see NFTs. And the basic concept behind it is ownership, right? Just like we talked about in the prior video, it's ownership. So when you play this game, right, you're spending hours and hours and maybe days of time playing, and you're gathering like cool skins or getting like cool items and things that you get, but they're all stuck in the game. You just wasted all your time here. And this NFT concept opens up that way to like sell it or to like make use of that time you've invested.
Okay, so you're talking about that, but I don't see how it's any different from pretty much any other kind of gaming thing, because you're talking about spend your time, your energy to create like your character and have equipment. But like I've played a lot of like online games like Ragnarok Online, or what was it, Perfect World. I know these are really old games, okay, people don't play them anymore, but when I played them, if you got your character or you got something rare or you got something good, you could actually like sell your stuff for real money. Like you could sell it in game and people would PayPal you it. So technically there is a way to make money off of these games too, if you want to. But most people use gaming and that kind of thing as entertainment, you know?
Well, so the way that you're describing it too is it might sometimes go against the terms of service whenever people are trying to sell their goods. Whereas these games are kind of brought to the idea of the NFT marketplace. They have their own marketplaces where these games are based off of, where they can legally, or you're not going against terms of services to sell it. And that's what NFT does, is it uses the blockchain to secure your ownership, right? So people are able to actually do it without like disobeying the rules of the game or the terms of services. Now, what you were talking about, people doing this for entertainment, I think for sure, yeah, people like entertainment, but at some point, you spend money, you put money in, and it's just like any other card games, like Pokemon or anything that you're investing time in. You like to get some value out of your time, because if you can also get entertained and make money, why not do it that way, right? So you can like get some money back from it.
Okay, so I understand what you're talking about with the terms of services and all that stuff, but then you probably still have the exact same problem, is that yes, you can make money like from it in NFTs, but you still have that whole issue of being scammed, because like I've known people who've tried to sell their characters like from a game, and then they thought they got paid money, and then after they got paid money and transferred the character over, like the other side like pulled some kind of thing to pull the money back. There are ways to get scammed when you're trying to do these kind of like selling these kind of items online, especially in a game. And like these people, like I don't really know the way they do it because I've never done it myself, but those guys who are scamming people, they're like really good at it. They're practiced at it, and they're practiced at doing it in multiple games. How is NFT, like these gaming NFTs, going to be any different for these people who are like already like experts at scamming people, in gaming?
Right. So I mean, that's where, if the game's designed correctly, they're taking the person-to-person interaction out of this. It's just to the marketplace, right? And it's very much more akin to like a stock market, like we've talked about before, where like, well, I'm willing to sell my shares, or I'm willing to sell my NFTs to the marketplace at this price. Anybody can buy it. It's not a person-to-person transaction, so that ideally would help with that, with reducing your scam kind of possibilities. The next step is also like the next benefit is like royalties, right? So a lot of artists, you know, even you can talk about people who do music or people who do like fine art or paintings, whatever, right? And the basic issue, and this is just like with video games too, right? Once you buy it and you try to resell it, right? The artist usually doesn't keep getting that royalty in it. But now with NFTs, you're able to like embed that into the coding where they can keep getting a cut at every time that thing gets sold, right? So I know like for me, video games, right? You buy it at the full price and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm done playing with it. And now I want to resell it. Well, when you start talking digital, right? Digital music, digital art, there's really no resale market for it. So that's where this thing can, NFTs can really blow up, is allowing people to get value for things that they own, right? That they and then also give royalties to the original artists.
Okay, so I see this idealized version that you're giving, but you realize that it's still a collectible. It's still the same as any other type of collectible item. I mean, if you think about all the things that have been collectibles, I mean, from Beanie Babies to Pokemon cards to baseball cards to like Magic the Gathering to like different like games, you know, the fact is that you never know what collectibles are actually going to go up in price and which ones are just going to die off after it's been trendy for a while. So how are these NFT games any different? Like, okay, yay, it's popular for 2 years, 3 years, and then it dies and it's worth nothing. You know what I mean? So I don't like, it's not that easy.
Yeah, so I will say that's one of those big kind of watch outs, is like, so a lot of projects can be like knockoffs, right? Now, and like, you know, that's where you would ideally want to get utility, right? So if you're playing a game, it's like usually it's some kind of feature that gives you like bonuses, like it's like a power up, or it gives you some kind of, like in the playing card games, it has some special ability, and that's what really makes it good, because you enjoy it, you're playing it, and it helps bring you value within the game too, right? So you can earn the game currency. I think the other big thing with it is that you know, we've talked about this in a prior video, but like the whole proof of work, proof of stake concept, they really have, and the level 2 kind of Ethereum concept, they've really reduced the cost that it's going to be in order to do these kind of micro NFT transactions, right? So that it's going to make it a lot cheaper so that people are able to actually interact with the blockchain at a reduced fee.
Okay, so like all of this sounds great, but it also sounds like it's all very risky right now because it's not like, as a proof of concept, it's not really proof of concept because it doesn't feel like it's actually like completely thought well out and like, you know, you're sure that you can make money off it, that it's actually a real investment, that it's really something that you can consider an asset. It still sounds as like nebulous, like, I'm sorry, gaming is not an asset, okay? Like, you know, when you, no matter, I know people who spend $10,000 on a game because they want the best equipment, the best gear, the best skins, the best fashion or something like that. They've spent like thousands of dollars in a game. That is not an investment because no matter how much they try to like, even if they sell their character off later, like there's no way to get even a fraction of that price back. You know what I mean? So if we're talking about financial like investing, because NFTs are supposed to be something that you can invest in that will bring you more money when you sell it, right? Like if it's an investment, you're supposed to be able to like make money off of it. That's why collectibles, like some people think that they want specific collectibles. For instance, like the Lego like super star destroyer, like it was discontinued. It was like worth like what, $600 when they buy it. Now if you want to buy it online, it's like 5,000. No, that is what people are looking for when they're trying to invest in something that's collectible. Like I don't see that kind of profit potential or that like that stability in, you know, your gaming NFT trading.
Yeah, so I think that's a good point, that prices can fluctuate, right, with NFTs. But I think you just reminded me of another thing I forgot to mention, is like it's that ownership, right? It's against it helps against counterfeiting, right? So industries that have like high uses of counterfeit, this NFT concept, it might be tied to the physical, right? So like I know a lot of females have purses, right? And these are really expensive purses, and you could like the whole fashion industry is rife with counterfeit, right? And then that's where if you tie it, you can actually, tie it and put ownership and make sure that it's a real purse, like it's a real concept, right? And I will say that that's why this is proof of concept, because it is the beginning phases of these NFTs. But it is something where everybody can do it. Anybody can invest. Anybody can learn. There are things to learn, granted, right? So learning gas fees and learning about all the different currencies can be a little tricky. I'll admit that, but it is something where I think it's going to really take off, and you could see it get into real estate. You can see it get into stocks. You can get all this stuff because it's a unique kind of like transaction ID. It's a unique it's a unique address for it that makes it so that people have ownership of their product, of whatever they're buying, because they might not get the huge profit potential you said, but they'll be able to resell it at least, right? And it's not just stuck in their game, there until you delete the game.
So really what we're talking about comes back to what we talk about in all of our workshops and classes, is that it's actually more about what you want to do with it and what's right for you and your situation, because like he's saying, like you can just use it. Like if you're going to be spending the money anyway, because you want that entertainment, being able to recoup at least some of it might be all that you're looking for in it. You might not be looking at it as an investment, but it might still be something that was good for you. But you can also look at it as, if you know what you're picking and you know what you're choosing, some things that are definitely going to go up, kind of like the Lego Star Destroyer set. I mean, there's the Millennium Falcon right now, and people are buying it to hold it to resell in like 5 years. I mean, people are doing these kind of things because they know there's a proof of concept where the old discontinued one, jumped up by 10 times. So it's kind of like you have to decide what's right for you and what you think will happen.
Yeah, and make sure you don't take it out of the box, right? But yeah, so thank you guys for showing up for another video. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, put some comments below if you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time.